and we haven't come across any such entry as a political prisoner. So for us, we may not know. Maybe the public may judge that on their own. For the filers, we even have judgments from the courts where these and charge sheets, and even some of them have served the sentence. So that one is very clearly documented. We were requested or asked to provide a list of perpetrators of human rights violations and attached to our presentation next time. Let me say, about half of the cases we hear at the tribunal, the victims don't know the names of the people who torture them for a number of reasons. There are people who don't wear their, I think some police officers wear their name tags on their uniform. But actually let me say the worst cases of torture are such that the victims never get to know the names of the people who torture them. They just describe them, how they were dressed. And there are some people, some security officers who you can't even see their faces. So if we are to require the victims to provide us these names, we will not go far. But where possible, we will provide them. I know there is a case, for example, we decided recently in our session in Lira, where we named the perpetrator and actually recommended that he be prosecuted. This is the former DPC of Lira, who went to a prison, I think in Erute, and he pretended that he was taking this prisoner for further investigations and ordered his execution. So although he's a retired officer today, we got his name, we've recommended that he be prosecuted. So as far as we can, we'll provide those names. But where we are not able, we request that you understand that sometimes we don't get to know them. And Chairperson, I want to thank, in light of the provisions of Article 53(4) of the Constitution, which says the Commission shall not investigate any matter which is pending before a court or judicial tribunal. I don't know how far we can go with this interaction without offending these provisions. So we are mindful of that. However, it's true we interact, and there are some I don't know whether I'm safe to say this, what we watch, but we are unable to comment. The recent bail terms imposed on Mr. Aaron Kiza, I mean, we were perturbed by these bail terms, especially considering the circumstances that this person was convicted by a court which has since been declared not having jurisdiction of. So, but in light of these provisions, Chairman, we can't go very far in interacting
about our findings in places of detention. Honorable members, places of detention are many. We have military detention places, police, prisons, remand homes, and many others. But let me concentrate on prisons and the military because I think they're the ones that took the bulk of the day. In Uganda, we have 256 and 65 prisons. And in these prisons, currently, we have over 80,000 inmates. If you go to Luzira, if you go to Chitalia, you will find them sleeping neck to neck. It is so bad, honorable members, that if you go there, which we often do regularly and unannounced, they're in a dire condition. The question has been, do we build more prisons or we change the criminal justice system? Do we concentrate on community service? But we have raised this time and over again. And I'm glad the members have picked up on this. When you ask some of the findings, of course, prisons has made tremendous efforts to keep them clean, to make sure there are no breakdown of diseases, breakup of diseases, and to make sure there is discipline and security. But the issue of overcrowding and congestion is so dire in prisons. This we have to handle as a country. There were concerns of why we went to Gulu and not the military facilities in in and around Kampala. Now, sometimes you hear of an incident and you decide to go to that place. That is why we went to Gulu to see whether there were civilians there. And unfortunately, the people we found were military men in uniform being detained there, and the conditions were not bad. But like you have raised, we shall also try and again visit. Now we are reporting on a particular financial year. Previously we have gone to military, but we can't go there over and over again. So we shall go back to the ones in and around Kampala as requested. So we pledge to handle that. The nature of crimes, as I don't know which honorable raised that. In our prisons, we have many crimes, murder, manslaughter, the whole 9 yards. But I think that the ones that top the list are theft, assault, burglary, defilement. But unfortunately, most of the ones who are dealing with defilement, when you ask them, they tell you it is land matters or land disputes. But prisons have said, okay, this is what we are dealing with. So there is house breaking, defilement, murder is not so high, but theft, burglary, assault. Those are the highest criminal offenses that we have. The category that we have, and I think it's very important that we recognize this, majority of these are uneducated, semi-educated, between the ages of 19 and 36, 37. So you realize that these are prime ages where people are supposed to be very productive. So that calls for employment. We also note that majority are coming from humble beginnings, and many of them cannot access lawyers. So those are challenges that we note. The other issue that we had was, do we catalog the detainees that we find in particular? Now, I have said that we have 80,000 prisoners. Those are so many people. Those are it's a full country, almost a full country of Mongolia that has 1 million people. If we have 80,000 people in places of detention. Now, we catalog the ones, for example, those that have been pending ministerial orders. I think Honorable Katuntu mentioned someone who was detained for 27 years. Those are the names that we submitted to the Chief Justice, and we also submitted them to the Minister of Justice. And some of them, because of our communication, the chair's letter to the Minister of Justice, it led to the release of 130 inmates who were pending ministerial orders. These people had been waiting for justice for the longest time, and prison was even struggling with them because some of them had mental illnesses, and they were waiting for the minister to make a decision about their mental capacity. And we had argued that, look, these people actually need a psychiatric institution, not a prison. They are sick. And unfortunately, there were court orders for them to be in prisons. Prisons were saying, hey, human rights help us. Unfortunately for us, we can only use the pen. I'm glad the chairperson did that, and 130 were released. However, there are still some more who we have requested that action also needs to be done. They've taken so long in prison, and we're happy that some of them were released.
Fe misango gye tusoma mu admission book tetulabangamu political prisoner. Tulabamu emisango olusi terrorism, obutujju, olusi murder, obutemu, olusi okukabasanya obwana obuto, obuliisamaanyi. Tetulabangako musango gwe bayita political prisoner oba. So nze sobola kwogera ku kyesimanyi. Political prisoner oba yafaanana atya? Kuba nze ndi munnamateeka, mmanyi nti bwe tutunuulira misango ki egibasomeddwa. So sisobola kujwetekawo kyesimanyi nti gundi oyo wadde bamusomera omusango gw'obutemu oba ogw'obutuuju naye political prisoner, ekyo ffe tetukimanyi. Ffe tutambulira ku records. Bwe ngenda mu komera ejinja oba eruzira wano nensaba bajjeyo records zaabwe, admission book gye bayingirizaako abasibe nga bakatuuka nga bava mu kooti ez'enjawulo.